Blog Talk Radio.
Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war. But there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second. Surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement. And this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement. And it gives no choice between peace and war, only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? When Nikita Khrushchev has told his people he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better rev than death, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. And therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shot heard round the world? The martyrs of history were not fools. And our honored dead, who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis, didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay, there is a point beyond which they must not advance. Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material computations. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn we're spirits, not animals. And he said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
My country is me and my family.
Well, your country's also Huerta, and the governor, the landlords.
Not my country. My country is me and my family.
Well, your country's also Huerta, and the governor, the landlords, Gunther Ruse and his locusts. This little revolution we're having here.
All right, everybody. How you doing? My name is Joseph Gibson. Still having a lot of technical difficulties. I have no chat room. Why, I do not know, but I know you can hear me and I can see the callers on the line. We've got about 12 callers on the line, but I have no chat box. Like I said, my name is Joseph Gibson. It's Blog Talk Radio. I'm broadcasting from Greensboro, North Carolina. It's about 6:30 p.m. on the East Coast. I had a couple people that were supposed to call in tonight. They haven't called in yet because I'm searching for their number. But I've had a lot of technical difficulties. I was on vacation for about a week. I had a few things that I had to take care of that, family comes first. My family comes first. And so we had to put the radio show aside for a little while, but we're going to be back. We're not going to have as many shows every week like we always had in the past, but we will try to broadcast 2 or 3 times a week to address the issues that we've been talking about for the past couple months, and my supporters have been bringing up. And, I have those faithful supporters out there who call in consistently and contribute, send me emails and ask me. And I'm sorry that we haven't been on the air, but I had very important things to take care of. I did try going on the air a few nights ago, but it was a mess. I was only able to broadcast for about 5 minutes. After that, I didn't know what the heck was going on. I couldn't even end the episode. That's how bad it was. And a couple of people told me later on that there was just dead air afterwards. And so I was still on live, but I wasn't there. So it was just dead air. So these things are going to, I don't know if it's on my end or if it's Blog Talk Radio or if I made some enemies throughout the internet here on Blog Talk Radio or because my show was getting pretty popular and I was challenging other shows. And there are people who can play tricks who, we all know that. There's insiders and if they can shut me down or shut me up or hack into my computer or break into my studio or whatever, there are people out there that do these types. For God's sake, they hacked into Hillary Clinton's email. So, so what makes you think I can't get hacked into or I can't be sabotaged or they can't read my emails or shut me down? Because we do take on a lot of sensitive subjects. And like I said, the show that I did with the Not Just Another Number, that show right there was off the charts. I mean, they're still downloading it to this day. Every day, even though I wasn't on every single night for the past 10 days, that show has had at least 20 to 50 downloads every day since I've not been on the air. So they're still so people are still downloading that show. Because like I said, these shows are archived. You can go back and, you want to listen to the show I did with the Veterans Against ISIS on July 27th? That show's archived. That show consistently gets downloaded. The numbers keep going up and up and up. So the show I did with calling Walmart about the Confederate flag issue, that show gets downloaded. See, I can log into my studio and I can see all these downloads and I see the stats, and people don't understand. It's not the live listeners that you get. It's not because I can only handle so many live listeners anyway because of the bandwidth. But if you go back later on, which a lot of people do, and you can log into the internet, go to blogtalkradio.com, and you type in my name, Joseph Gibson, or you go to blogtalkradio.com/Joseph Gibson, all my shows appear. And you have a choice. You can listen or you can download them, okay? And that's what a lot of people do. So you don't understand. That's how we get a lot of our listeners. See, because a lot of people are not going to, listen, people can't budget time. People are too busy. They're running around going here, there, doing this, doing that. They're not going to be here at 6:30 every night like my supporters are, okay, unless they have an agenda or if we have a special guest. They're not going to tune in at a certain specific time. We know that, okay? I've even had family tell me they were going to tune in and they didn't. So we know that people are irresponsible today and they're not going to tune in when they say they're going to tune in, or they promise they're going to tune in and they never do. But they do go later on when they're not doing anything, or if they're on the computer, and they go back and they archive the show and they listen. And that's what I'm trying to tell you, that people are hearing you and what you have to say, those people that contribute and add to the show. So that's what's important. And, hey, listen, I get a lot of emails. Listen, I get comments like crazy. A lot of nonsense, too. People calling me an idiot, jackass. I don't know anything about the New World Order. What right do I have? What education do I have? And I get called names. So what makes you think they're not trying to hack into my studio and shut me down? So it happens. It happens. But that's fine. Like I said, I'm on tonight. I'm here. You can hear me. I don't have a chat room, but oh well, big deal. We'll fix that in the future. But I know I have live callers on the line, and this show will be archived. It will be saved forever, unless, they do something else and they don't have the internet anymore. But anyway, for the last 10 days, a lot of things have happened. I'm sure a lot of things have happened in your lives, and a lot has happened in my life. I don't like to disclose a lot of personal information on the air about my life because there's a lot of wackos out there. We all know that. We live in a sick, sick world. And like I said, I have received threats. I have received, name calling where they've called me names. And, so I don't like to put too much personal information out there. And a lot of these people are nothing but cowards, or they're provocateurs or agitators, and they may not even really exist. They could be, computer robots. But what I'm trying to say is I don't like to put too much detailed information. It's just like Twitter and Facebook. All you people out there who post personal, detailed information on Facebook or Twitter, you're a fool. You're a fool. Because let me tell you, the government is watching, and number two, there are people out there, criminals, who will twist your information around and make you look like something you are not. They can steal your name, your identity, and everything that belongs to you just by you posting a certain comment on Facebook. So you need to be aware of that. You need to understand these things. You need to understand the times in which we live in today. That's why I have this title of a show, because I like talking about the things that we all go through today, and I like complaining about it, and I like addressing the issues that face us today. Go along to get along. That's not the way to live. Am I saying pick up a rifle and start a revolution? No. Am I saying start not banging on your next door neighbor's door and telling him what you believe and he should believe it? No. Am I saying run up and down the street yelling what you think to be true or what I think to be true? No. All I'm saying is we need to understand the times in which we live in today. And that's why I picked the title of this show as what it is now, understanding the times in which we all live in today. And we must understand that, or you're going to be tricked, duped, and scammed and deceived. And we all know that. There's a scam around the corner every day, okay, whether it's a telemarketer calling you and bothering you while you're in the middle of doing something important. And they always call right when you're in the middle of doing something important, don't they? Or you could have your local internet provider or your cable TV provider trying to screw you over and scam you, or your local electric company, or whatever it is. There's a scam around every corner, and we've addressed those issues. But on a brighter note, a positive note, I made contact with my nephew, Alex Turgeon, who joined the United States Army, and he's gone through his boot camp. And there are pictures of him on my Facebook page, so those of you who want to view that or look at that, there are pictures of him holding a rifle. I'm surprised Facebook didn't tear it down and call me or block me and call me a terrorist because he's holding a rifle. But he is, in a Army uniform. Nowadays, you see a picture of a gun. Oh my Lord, you're a terrorist. You're evil. Guns. Oh my Lord, guns are bad. But anyway, Alex, I made contact with him via phone, and and remember the broadcast I did over this past summer where I explained to everyone on his compatibility, on how he spoke, and tried to articulate what he was trying to say, kind of like the younger generation of today. They cannot put together more than two sentences without screwing up or not saying anything at all. It's always 1, 2, 3, 4 word sentences, even when they speak. Hi, how you doing? Yeah, yep, I guess. Oh, yeah, I guess. They can't articulate. They have no communication skills because we're all text messaging nowadays and we're sending emails. We don't communicate one-on-one anymore. We're desensitized. But anyway, like I told you, Alex actually carried on conversation that was very articulate, and he's learned a lot. And like I said, when he gets out of the United States Army after 3 years, he will not be the same person he was when he entered the Army. He will be educated, he will be in shape, he will be well informed, he will be trained, and he will be able to communicate with his fellow Americans, friends, and family also. Okay? That is the one good thing about the United States Armed Forces. They train you and they break you down. Unlike our public schools that turn our children into vegetables, okay, and zombies, and our, other institutions in America where we vaccinate and chemically dumb down the people, and our big grocery stores out there with the poisonous food, with GHMO foods, and the eugenics program of the New World Order, where they're, poisoning us, because a lot of the food we eat today has absolutely no nourishment whatsoever. It's all chemical dependency, just like McDonald's. If any of you eat at McDonald's, stop. McDonald's is one of the worst okay, Burger King, all these places. The food is absolutely poisoned. Poisoned. Okay? And just look it up for yourself if you don't believe me. Because the information is at your fingertips. Instead of posting a selfie on Facebook, look up the information about the hamburgers and what McDonald's puts in their meat, or what's in the meat that McDonald's serves to you. Go ahead, look it up. I remember one guy I was talking to one time about the chemtrails. He said, what the hell are you talking about, chemtrails? I said, they spray us. They spray chemicals in the atmosphere. You don't know that? He goes, what are you, nuts? I said, look. This is a person I saw every morning. This is back when I was landscaping. I said, look, you got the internet at home? He said, yeah. When you get home today, which he did not do for a couple times, but he eventually did do, because, you got to kind of drill it into their head because people are so busy. I said, look up geostrophic engineering. Look it up. Well, he eventually did, and he came back and he apologized. He's like, wow, they really do that. I don't believe that. Why don't people say anything? What did you do when I first told you about it? You called me a nut. That's why people don't do anything, right? Right? I'm a nutcase. They spray aluminum particles, aluminum barium monoxide, in the atmosphere. And God knows what else they spray. But they put these aluminum particles in the atmosphere, and what they do is they tell people who know, like me, they say they're aluminum particle, to deflect the sun's rays away from the earth, because aluminum has, a reflection. And what these aluminum particles do is they cloud the atmosphere, and like, for instance, in the summertime or even in the winter, you see this haze in the sky. Because when I was a kid, or even those older people out there, you remember those sunny, bright blue skies with the clouds, the dark blue? How many times do any of you see that anymore? Very rare, because they're up there spraying and they're clouding it, okay? And they claim that they're deflecting the the ozone. What they're doing is creating ozone, a man-made natural ozone that will deflect the sun's rays back, so you're not being hit with these rays that causes skin cancer and destroys plants and whatnot. Whatever. I don't know. I can't get into the entire report. I'm just trying to beat around the bush here and explain the outline of what they're doing to you. In a simple term. So those of you who don't know about geostrophic engineering, which is a legitimate government program, all you got to do is look it up, and they'll give you all kinds of information about it and what they do. But don't be sidetracked with the nuts out there, because, which they make good points. I'm talking about the conspiracy theorists, which they make good points, and they are right in some issues, but at the same time, read the government program and what they're actually doing. Because what they're doing is they're poisoning you slowly, okay? It is very difficult today, without some sort of help to the soil to grow organic fruit, organic vegetables, okay? If you do not have some sort of soil treatment or natural treatment to the soil in your backyards or in your fields, it is very difficult to grow vegetables or fruits today. Okay? Try it next year or in the springtime. We're in October now. Planting season is pretty much over. In the springtime, don't treat your soil and just plant an heirloom seed and see what happens. You'll get nothing. You may get a plant, but it won't produce anything. It won't produce nothing. You have to help it because our soil is so contaminated. And we must understand this. We must. And that was just one of the subjects I wanted to bring up tonight, geostrophic engineering, and they call it chemtrails. Look it up. There's lots of videos out there. And people can call you nuts or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, if you're out for a drive or you're in your backyard or you're out in the field working, like I was at one time, and there's a sunny sky out there, you ever see those jets, okay? Listen, I know jets give off a cloud when they go, okay? You know that little line behind them? Wow. Okay, those are called contrails, okay? Those dissipate. That comes from the jets. Those are gases and the garbage they spit out as they're, basically. I don't want to get technical terms, okay? But those are contrails. That's what they call them. And they dissipate into the atmosphere. But if you ever notice, there's a lot of lines now that stay in the sky. Okay? And then why do you see another line going across, and another line going across, another line going across, another line? Okay? And then that crystal blue sky, after about 3-4 hours, turns hazy, cloudy. And that blue is no longer there. And now you see a white cloud, haze, like, for instance. Why is the government doing this? Well, we've all looked it up many times, and like I just told you, it becomes very difficult to grow. Okay? It becomes, these farmers out there, or these people who have these apple orchards, orange fields, pears, whatever have you, whatever, the Americans grow, or even the local or vegetable plant grower, in your community, or even you, the homeowner who wants to grow your little garden and wants to grow natural food, without the GHMO and the artificial hormones in it. That, just analyze that for a second. They don't want you. Okay? Just like we talked about vaccinations. They don't want you to be naturally healthy. They don't. But why? What are they up to? And that's why we talk about these things, understanding the times in which we live in today. And like I tell you, everyone, I challenge you, look these issues up, investigate them for yourselves. Don't take my word for it, and don't call me any names, because I receive a lot of comments on YouTube, okay, or on the comments on my show where people call me names, and I always challenge these people, come on to my call-in. Let's have a little discussion about this. And, of course, they never do. So it makes me wonder if they're actually for real or not. But trust me, I'm not afraid of you. I'll take you on any time on a debate. I remember I played a couple weeks ago how I got into another Blog Talk show, and I basically made the guy look like an idiot. By the way, his show has practically lost 80% of his listeners since I've been on there, because I've been paying attention, which is good, because he spews nonsense. But anyway, I got someone who wants to call in real quick, so I'll stop talking. And like I said, we're scheduled for an hour and a half tonight. We will not most likely broadcast that entire hour and a half unless something special or spectacular happens, because I still do have a lot going on, and I'm sure you do too. I appreciate the people that are on the line tonight who are listening. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you listening to me, because, live listens are very important. And I just want to thank you. And if any other people want to call in, you got the courage or you got something on your mind, phone number 657-383-0616, and you press 1, I will surely connect you, and you will be allowed to discuss anything that is on your mind or what you want to talk about, or even my opening. I always try to put an introduction out there and lay out a platform that everyone can talk about. And also I want to talk, before I get to the first caller, I'm trying to get, it's kind of hard, but I'm trying to get, if anyone ever saw that movie, American Sniper, it came out this past year. This guy was a Navy SEAL, and we know I've had a veteran on here before who was nationally known. His name was Sean Rowe, Veterans Against ISIS, who had a national organization. I'm trying to get the wife of Chris Kyle, who was a Navy SEAL, onto this show. She has been on Glenn Beck, Fox and Friends, same thing as the other individual who came onto this show. However, there was a movie made about Chris Kyle. He did 4 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan as a Navy SEAL, and he came back and he was murdered by a veteran. Now, there's a lot going on. There was a lawsuit pending against him and Jesse the Body Ventura, and it's big news, and maybe some of you have heard about it. And I put that out on YouTube, and let me tell you, the response I got, they hate this guy for some reason. Why, I do not know. So I want to give the wife a chance. They have a Chris Kyle Foundation that supports veterans and injured veterans, and I've been in contact with their media group because they are pretty popular, and they want me to fill out forms and everything and request why I want them to come on the show, which I understand, because there's a lot of scams out there and a lot of scam artists. So, but I've been in contact with someone from their organization, and in the next few weeks I'm going to attempt to try to get the wife or someone from that organization onto this show so we can learn about Chris Kyle, who has more confirmed kills. He was a sniper, okay? He was a Navy SEAL, has more confirmed kills than any other Navy SEAL or armed serviceman in the history of the United States. Okay? This man won, I believe, 2 Silver Stars, 1 Purple Heart. He's very well decorated, and like I said, when he came back, he started working with veterans, and he was murdered. It was in the state of Texas this happened. I don't have all the facts, but I was trying to give everyone an outline, and this will be somebody I will try to get on in the future. That's one of the things I've been working on, but I've been having a lot of technical issues with my computer and with Blog Talk Radio. We already discussed that in the beginning. Okay, so I think that will be a great show in the future, and I believe I can get the wife of Chris Kyle on because I will give her the floor and allow her to take questions, and I believe that will be a very big show. So let's hope and pray that that comes. And we know we've had other people from organizations come on this show in the past, and those were great shows. So anyway, I'm going to get to my first caller. It's Meriden, Connecticut. I'm sure he's going to touch base on what I talked about earlier, so I'm going to put him on right now. Go ahead, Joe, you're on. I think you're on. Trying to get you on. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm trying. If not, I'm going to have to continue talking. But I have it loading, and I told you I've had problems with this studio. Joe, can you hear me yet? Okay, what I'm going to do is disconnect them, and then I'll try reconnecting them. If not, we'll have to give it a few minutes. Okay, then now I got Mike also out in Wisconsin who wants to connect. I got Mike and Joe on the line right now, but okay, I got Joe connected. Are you there, Joe? I got Mike connected. Hello? No, I don't have you connected. Try again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm unmuted now.
I got you now, Joe. Go ahead.
Well, good evening, fellow confidants and fellow foes. Of course, I'm going to talk about what you just talked about.
And also, I got Mike on the line also, Joe. I just want to let you know I got Mike on the other line also live.
I'll only be a couple minutes. I want to talk a little bit about bath mats and totes and a little bit about what you talked about. You know the Rubbermaid bath mats and the Rubbermaid totes that you normally use? Well, that material, some of the chemicals they use to make those bath mats and those totes is what they were putting into Subway bread a number of years ago to make the bread nice and soft so that everybody loved that healthy bread from Subway when they bought those grinders. Well, what you're not aware of is that McDonald's and Burger King and Taco Bell use that same chemical in their muffins and bread. So the hell with the meat that used to come from kangaroos and everything, which is probably good for you. Worry about the bread because that's what they're not telling you about. And
wait, are they still serving that type of bread today, or what happened? How did they get discovered?
I believe everybody except Subway is still serving the same bread. That's why it's so nice and soft and fluffy.
Okay.
As far as I know, I don't stay up on this on a daily basis, so that's as far as I know. It's a xenometabolic or something like that. I forgot the name of it. It's some chemical that makes it soft and pliable, just like the bath mats and everything.
Okay, but we eat this bread, which thousands of people every day are eating this bread from Subway. What are they suffering? What are they suffering because of this?
I don't know what the symptoms of it would be, and I'm sure that science couldn't even prove what the symptoms would be, because there's so many possibilities that they could probably tell you it's going to kill you eventually, but what the symptoms are going to be in the meantime, I don't know. Probably liver or kidney failure. Who knows?
Or various types of cancer, because we know cancer is everybody's got cancer nowadays, right?
Well, that's going to bring me to what I'm talking about and what you talked about. Of course, cancer is a natural part of the body. Everybody has cancer. You don't have any cells in your body that are more than 9 years old, except for some white blood cells and brain cells. All your other organs, and as a person, you're really only 9 years old, because your cells die automatically unless they're told to live. And that's what cancer is. Cancer is just confused cells which keep, reproducing and mutating because they're confused. They're not told to die, so they stay alive.
All right, I know. Okay, well, you're talking about cancer. All right, real quick. All right, I knew somebody who had bone cancer. He's in pain every day, and he actually died because of the bone cancer. I mean, okay, everyone's got cancer you're talking about. Well, why doesn't the cancer affect all of us, and it only affects some of us?
Well, that's what I just said about the stuff they're going to put in the bread. And you said, well, what's it going to do? Who knows what it's going to do? Who knows why it doesn't affect everyone? Maybe smoking cigarettes is not bad for you as long as you don't drink Coca-Cola or sodas with sodium benzenate in it, because maybe sodium benzenate is the actual cause of the cancer. Who knows? You know, you're not going to really find the answer either, because any study they do will probably be paid for by the people that want the results that they want to obtain, and they'll pay someone to get the results they want. And if they don't get the results they want, then they won't use their study. They'll find someone else, and that's the way business goes.
True.
You know,
that's true.
So about personal information, you know, I went down my little grocery store down here, started selling beer. They don't sell alcohol or anything. They sell beer. And so I went shopping the other day, and I picked up a can of beer. I started buying beer. First of all, I never used to drink beer out of cans anymore, but now I'm getting too old and too lazy, and now I just throw the cans away rather than smashing glass in there. And so I bought a can of beer. And as I was checking out, she wanted to see my ID. I'm well over 60 years old. I says, for what? She says, well, you have to be of legal age. Do I look 21? And she says, yeah. I said, well, I'm not going to show you my ID. She says, well, it's the law. And I says, I don't know anything about any law that says I have to prove my age, you know, if I look well over 21. And she says, well, I can't sell it to you if you don't show me your driver's license. I said, okay, take it back. So she took it back. So after that, I went and spoke to the manager, and I told the manager, and I said, listen, you know, I come shopping here 2 or 3 times a week, and 2 or 3 times a week I'm going to buy a can of beer. And if you're going to make me show my ID, then you know what? If I want beer, I'll buy it someplace else. So from now on, I don't have to show my ID.
Well, Joe, didn't we discuss this? Remember when I called Rite Aid, and we had the assistant manager on the phone, and she talked about its policy. And I told when I wanted to buy a pack of cigarettes, but it's policy, I have to show my ID. You know, where is this policy posted? You know, where you know, when I walk into your store, I'm not told this. There's nowhere it's posted. Why should you inconvenience me? You know, for me spending money at your establishment. But like you said, when we had her on the phone, I believe you commented on that. They don't care. Who cares? And that guy you just talked about, he don't care if you put the beer back. He don't care if you come back at all.
Well, yes, he does. It's a very small grocery store here, and he does care because I was able to go back and purchase the beer, and I don't have to show my ID.
All right. So you won the issue. All right.
I won the issue. I've looked up the Connecticut laws and everything, and I don't see anything that says that I have to show an ID. All it says is that people under 21, you know, can, you know, have to have a driver's license and blah 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 blah, but nothing else.
All
and
right.
you were talking about you know, growing plants and organic food and that sort of thing. Well, you know, I know they do have standards for growing organic vegetables, how it cannot be treated with chemicals, and in order to say it's organic, it has to be so many percent and everything like that. And that's all twisted too, because people make names like organically grown, and they put that right on there. This is just a for instance. So when you look at the package, you'll think it's organic, but actually that's their company name, and that's how everybody's tricked into everything. But you know, they found out that all you need is NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, to basically grow anything. Now, the NPK, that's the fertilizers, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And nitrogen would get the plant growing and everything, and phosphorus would make the leaves or whatever, and potassium would make it flower or I don't know, something like that. But just because you have those three, it doesn't mean just that it looks like a tomato and it smells like a tomato, that it is a tomato. It just happens to look like a tomato. And the reason why we can't grow anything like you mentioned a few moments ago is we have to go back to probably 1850 or 1880 when they first started pumping electricity into people's houses. Because back then when they turned the first switch down in New York City and they started using electricity, people stopped burning wood in their houses for heat, for cooking, And what they used to do is take those wood ashes, which contained all the minerals and everything that they burned from the wood, and throw it outside in the garden. And then the plants, of course, would suck it up as they grew. But nowadays we don't have any of that, and we've been growing vegetables and everything out there for well over 100 years every year, just sucking out more and more of the nutrients that the plants need, so they're no longer in the soil. And if you think you're going to take a chemical fertilizer that's man-made and put it in the ground, and your plant is going to be tricked into using it, and if you think your body is going to be tricked into using it, that's not the case, because you're not going to do that. So that could be another reason why there appears to be prolific cancer and all kinds of other problems, because we're using man-made chemicals. And because when they do their tests and their studies, say they're testing vitamin C or vitamin E or something like this, they will take the man-made synthetic version and test that and say, well, it doesn't do what it says, and it doesn't cure cancer, or it doesn't do this. That's because they're not using the true organic, the true God-given, a version of that. But you see, they're getting the results they want, and it's all a matter of double talk. It's all a matter of BS.
Yeah, but anyway, real quick, I just want the other people that are listening on the line tonight, and I got about 22 people on the line. It seems like I always got about 20 or 25, but I want to give a thanks to Bridget in Raysville, North Carolina, who's listening, and, of course, Joe in Florida. I know Joe is one of my callers who usually calls in sometimes. Joe in Sebastian, Florida. I know we haven't been on in a while. He's probably got a lot to say, actually, but maybe tomorrow night he'll call in and say hello, because we haven't, like I said, we haven't been on the air for a while. So these supporters that I have who support the show, just like Elizabeth in Wallingford, Connecticut, we haven't been on for a while, and I thank you guys for coming back after such a long layoff. But hey, let's get to Mike. Mike, are you there? Hello, Mike.
Yeah,
from Wisconsin. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
well,
here.
what's the deal, Mike? What's on your mind?
Hey. Well, first of all, I'd like to say hi to everybody, and I'd like to say hi to you, and of course Bridget, and my brother Joey's talking about growing everything. This year, they just combined our fields out here for shell corn, and this year the corn stalks were about 11, 12 feet tall.
That's huge.
And and the guy was getting very, very good yield. I mean,
really?
Very good yield. And I know why he does it. He rotates his crops. So for 2 years he had soybeans in there. So now this year, next year, he'll probably have corn in there. And then he'll go back to soybeans, which puts the nitrogen back in the soil. And I live pretty close to Mitchell Field, about 30, 35 miles out, and I can almost agree with you 100% about those contrails, because the flight path of Mitchell Field sort of goes over our farm, and sometimes we can look up and I could tell you what the numbers say on the underbelly,
Really?
And
wow.
Yeah, I mean they're flying that low, and they're still 35, 40 miles out, but
yeah,
I know what you're saying, and I agree with you 100% about the putting the chemicals in the atmosphere, and I know.
So out in Wisconsin, you see that. Hey, Mike, there was a plant that was growing out there when I lived out there, and I'm a little confused about it, and people may not know it. It looks like corn, and it's called soy, correct?
Right.
Okay, and what is soy? What is soy?
Soybeans, is from soybeans, but I think you were talking about sorghum, where it looks like corn. We grew that when I had when I had a farm way up north, because way up north you can't grow corn. You know, just like right now they're getting 2 to 3 inches of snow, where we're still in the 50s. You know. And
Really.
But the sorghum, I don't know if you remember, but the sorghum would grow to 12, 13, 14, 15 feet tall. And
that's correct.
I used to cut it and put it in the silos, you know, for my milking cows, because it was very high in protein. And
But Mike, a lot of farmers in your area did not know about sorghum, correct? They were like, "What's that? Your corn's pretty high." I mean, and you had basically you were an example, correct?
Yeah, but you know what? Sorghum isn't easy to basically grow, because you know, at one point during a freeze like now, okay, if you cut the sorghum after it freezes, you have to wait a certain period of time because it turns poisoned. It actually will.
And if you feed the cows when it's poisoned, what happens? Cows die, right?
They die.
Wow.
You know, and you see that.
Well, I hear that's true about soybeans as well. Soybeans are actually poison, or the leaves, or something like right.
Well, you can't. If you went out here to the field, and you picked a handful of soybeans, threw them in your mouth, and ate them, you would be very, very sick.
Somebody's got static. Somebody's got a lot of static. Somebody does. I mean, it just stopped right now, so.
They're gone now.
All right, because I can barely hear you.
I'm out on the porch and it's raining, so I'll put it on mute.
That's right. Yeah, good idea. All right, go ahead, Mike.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that I'm pretty sure my father is listening in tonight, because you know we do check to see if the show's running or not. And
well, that's what I said. Mike, and that's why I paid respect to the the supporters. You know, Joe and Sebastian, Florida. We got Elizabeth Rondo in Yalesville, Connecticut. You know, we got Joe in Meriden, Connecticut. We got you out in Wisconsin. You know, and a few others. I even got Peter listening tonight out in San Diego, California. And there's a couple others. Like I said, I got about 22 people on the line. As far as logging onto the internet, the chat room, I'm sorry I don't have a chat room tonight. Why? I'll investigate that and get into that. But there is no chat room. And usually we get about 5 to 10 people in the chat room. But like I said, the main portion of our listeners, they listen on their smartphones. And I don't see those. I don't see them until a couple of days later, how many actually listen. And then I don't see until a couple of days later how many people actually download it through their browser, because that's what it says on my stat sheet, browser listens. And I don't see how many actually download and listen to the show who are not live listens. So, and like I told you, that show we did a few weeks ago, not just another number, we had thousands archived that show. And that's why I think a lot of people are starting to become jealous, and they're trying to knock me out of the box. And maybe that was a mistake, me taking on other shows. But, hey, I was just trying to make a point. You know, this alternative media is very important. We need to bring the facts out and understand the times in which we live in. And if you're out there talking about your Jesus Christ and you're going to save people and you're selling miracle oil for $100 a bottle, you know what? You're ruining alternative media, and I need to call you out on that. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, you know, the people should know that when they come to your show, they're going to be told the facts and nothing but the facts. And you know, if they want to call you out on the carpet, you're going to step up. And you know, you need shows like you don't need baloney shows. You know what I mean?
That's right.
You don't need that. And before I go or anything, I'd like to say hello to Peter up there in California, and hope he's doing well. Him and his wife are doing well. And I guess that's about it for me.
Hey, Mike, I got a question.
Thanks, Mike. All right, real quick, go ahead.
Mike, what do you use to fertilize your fields out there?
They use, just like you said, they use the phosphorus, calcium, you know, and it's all mixed. You get it by you get it at the feed mill, and it's man-made actually, and you know, it's like little crumbles, but you get it from the feed mill, and they bring it out in this great big spreader bin, and they can do a very, very large area, just with one tanker. But on top of that, a lot of farmers knife nitrogen into the soil to help their crops grow. And go ahead.
Do you use cow's manure?
We do. Yeah, we put it all back on the fields, and Melody puts it on her garden. That's why we get beets twice the size of your fist. And
how long have you been using this man-made stuff?
Well, they've been using it ever since I can think about it. I mean, we tried to use the manure when we were farming up north, and you can ask Joey there that when we farmed down here in McQuantico, I mean, we spread our own manure, and if everyone thinks getting manure out of a barn of 50 cows that are looser than a gooser, and in the middle of winter it's 30 below zero, you're trying to help this stuff go up a chute, and then
that's right,
you slip and fall into it, and you become a poop monster. And
I've been there.
Yeah, and but that's the name of the game. I mean, just if people had to work like farmers still work, boy, this country would be great. People show up for work. These kids show up for work, and they're complaining about they want to go home right away, or
right.
Or they don't come in on time. They're always 5 minutes late.
Or they have to work an extra 15 minutes. Hey, my shift was over 15 minutes ago. Well, what about the customer? They don't care, like you said, Mike, and you're right. And, we talk about these elections, and I don't want to carry on the show too much longer. I kind of want to wrap it up a little bit earlier. But real quick, I know you pay attention to the Republican race and politics. Who do you like so far in the Republicans candidates?
Well, I'm kind of worried about the Carson guy, and I'll tell you why.
I thought he was pretty okay because I kind of like him actually.
Actually, I do like him. It's just that he lives in a different world. He's never really done anything in business like. You know what I mean? And everything came to him. The people came to him. He did the surgery. And it was. I'm sorry.
The mic, huh?
Yeah.
Are you there, Mike?
I mean, you still have me?
Yeah, you're breaking
okay.
up a little bit. That's all.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. But anyway, if you can get back on, Mike, I'd appreciate it. But if not, I understand. Yeah, you were breaking up bad. But anyway, Joe, I'll bounce back to you. What do you think?
Well, they've got some on TV right now. I don't know who it is, but they're on TV having a debate, or they were at 6:00, and I don't know who they are. But from when I saw Hillary and Sanders and everybody up there, what I see out of that is I see a dog and pony show. They've got Sanders up. They've got Sanders up there so that they can make Hillary look good and everything. And of course,
that Sanders guy, he's a nutcase.
Yeah. Well, he comes from Vermont, and Webb. He would have been an excellent choice because he'll put a gun into every household and he'll make sure you protect yourself. But he dropped out. But I'm sure that they'll probably make him Secretary of Defense or something because he's very strong. And I think he would have probably been a good choice. But we're probably going to end up with Hillary. And as far as the other side, I don't know. I mean, I could just say Trump, but
I hope we don't end up with Hillary.
Well, I think we probably will, and I think she's just going to try to pull the guns away.
Yeah,
Well,
you're right.
Who are we going to end up with then? Sanders?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to end up who they pick. You're going to end up with who they select.
Well, that was my next statement. It doesn't matter what we think anyway, because they've already figured out who it's going to be.
That's right. But anyway, hey, if there's anyone else who wants to call in real quick, because I'll be wrapping it up within the next 5 minutes. 657-383-0616. Press 1, and I'll put you on if you got something to say. There's a lot of people on the line because I know I don't have a chat box. So hey, if you want to talk, don't be shy, don't be afraid. You can remain anonymous. You don't have to give your name. I won't announce your number over the air. So if you're worried about that, okay. But like I said, if you want to press 1, I'll put you on. If not, keep listening. Thank you very much. But go ahead, Joe.
Well, like I said, I think Sanders and when they had that one, that was just a dog and pony show for Hillary. And one has already dropped out, and another one there that I don't remember. I think it was maybe the guy from Rhode Island. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. He voted for stuff, and he didn't even know what he's voting on. And we're gonna elect him. So that's just another part of the dog and pony show. So there's only really 2 or 3 that were there, and Hillary was one of them. And I don't really think Sanders is going to get it because he's just too much of a whack job. And but on the other side, I don't know. I really don't know. I said Trump, but your guess is as good as mine.
I agree.
And who knows who they will actually pick.
You're right. Right.
Let's not get another Marxist like Karl Marx in there. I mean Obama.
No, Obama has done a number on this country, that's for sure. But anyway, yeah.
That was Karl Marx's goal. Open the borders, and that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead, Mike. Wrap it up, Mike. Go ahead, wrap it up, please.
Joe, you said a lot of times about this New World Order and everything. And today Hillary was being questioned by one of the news people. And I just turned the channel, and I guess I just watched it. And the question that they asked her was, if the banks failed during your administration, will the government bail them out? And she looked at the guy and says, no, they can all go under.
Well, I seriously doubt that, but
yeah, well. It may be one of the best things that happens. Who knows?
Yeah, right. But anyway, okay, listen. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead. You want to finish? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if that happens, I mean, I just feel sorry for the people that, have a couple $100 in the bank, their name, and now all of a sudden they have nothing,
Well, it's like I talked to Joe is down in Florida. Hey, listen, if you're not smart enough to, bankroll a little bit of silver and a little bit of gold, and keep it off to the side, and you're not prepared, then shame on you. Shame on you.
Or even scrap metal, anything you can trade. Russia it goes into Syria or whatever. Germany goes into here. All these countries go into other countries to get their way. You see, what Obama's doing is he's invading his own country. He's bringing the people here to get us. That's what he's doing. He's letting them come across the borders. He's flying them in here to go against us. He's invading this ain't his country. He's invading our country, and we're letting him do it.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, hey, listen, we're going to do it. Tomorrow's Thursday evening. We're going to do another show at 6:30 p.m. I'm going to try to get a couple people to call in and talk about a few important issues. Okay, so if anyone has any show ideas, email me at joegibsonishome@yahoo.com, and I will certainly take notice and take your opinions for real. I mean, seriously, if anyone has something they want to talk about, by all means do it. And we'll get ready to go ahead and wrap it up. Everybody, thanks for calling in tonight, those supporters. And those of you who just listened, thank you. I'll try to get the chat room open tomorrow night. And take care. Thanks, Mike and Joe, for calling in. And God bless everyone who was on the line tonight.
Bye, Mike. Hi, Peter. Bye, Joe.
But we are making a stand, and we're waking everybody up that 9/11 was an inside job. And you are the minority. You are the cowards who don't know the truth. You're the people that serve this evil system. You're the people that serve a system that hurts innocent men, women, and children, not just Iraqis, not just Afghans, not just Africans, but the people right here in this nation. You serve a new world order that attacks and feeds on you. And I'm here to tell you that you will be defeated. Your hours are numbered. We've got the energy. We've got the life force. All you've got is evil backing you up. All you've got is greed and liking to look at yourself in the mirror. Because deep down, the New World Order is a pot-bellied, chicken-necked ninny. And all the armor and all the weapons are nothing. You are nothing compared to good. You are nothing compared to life. And you will be defeated. I want the individuals out there, I want free humanity to turn themselves loose, to cut the chains loose, and to use the end of that chain to slap the New World Order right upside the head. You've got the power. You want to know who's going to defeat the New World Order? It is you. You're the individuals that are going to be able to defeat this system. You're the individuals that are going to be able to take down the New World Order. It doesn't matter if Ron Paul wins. It doesn't matter if they rig the election. What matters is that we're starting to stand up. We're starting to move. We're starting to find our legs. We're starting to build our muscles. We're starting to realize that we do have power, and we can work together, and we can take action, and that the naysayers are a pack of weak liars who have never had any successes in their life and who are upset and frustrated to see us beginning to have victories against tyranny. They don't have any respect for themselves. They don't have any vision, and they don't have any will. And they sure don't have any of the power that shines out of God's soul and energizes all life in the universe.
And if anybody wants to protest what we do or violate what we want, we just turn off their chip.
That's right, microchip. In 2005, Congress, under the pretense of immigration control and the so-called War on Terrorism, passed the Real ID Act, under which it is projected by May 2008, you will be required to carry around a federal identification card, which includes on it a scannable barcode with your personal information. However, this barcode is only an intermediary step before the card is equipped with a Verichip RFID tracking module, which will use radio frequencies to track your every move on the planet. If this sounds foreign to you, please note that the RFID tracking chip is already in all new American passports. And the final step is the implanted chip, which many people have already been manipulated into accepting under different pretenses.
We have a Florida family who are really pioneers of the brave new world. They have volunteered to be the first ever to have microchip identification devices implanted into their bodies.
After 9/11, I was really concerned with the security of my family.
I wouldn't mind having something planted permanently in my arm that would identify me.
In the end, everybody will be locked into a monitored control grid where every single action you perform is documented. And if you get out of line, they can just turn off your chip, for at that point in time, every single aspect of society will revolve around interactions with the chips. This is the picture that is painted for the future if you open your eyes to see it. A centralized one-world economy where everyone's moves and everyone's transactions are tracked and monitored, all rights removed. The most incredible aspect of all, these totalitarian elements will not be forced upon the people. The people will demand them. For the social manipulation of society through the generation of fear and division has completely detached humans from their sense of power and reality, a process which has been going on for centuries, if not millennia. Religion, patriotism, race, wealth, class, and every other form of arbitrary, separatist identification, thus conceit, has served to create a controlled population, utterly malleable in the hands of the few. Divide and conquer is the motto, and as long as people continue to see themselves as separate from everything else, they lend themselves to being completely enslaved. The men behind the curtain know this, and they also know that if people ever realize the truth of their relationship to nature and the truth of their personal power, the entire manufactured zeitgeist they prey upon will collapse like a house of cards.
The whole system that we live in drills into us that we're powerless, that we're weak, that our society is evil, that it's private, etc., and so forth. It's all a big, fat lie. We are powerful, beautiful, extraordinary. There is no reason why we cannot understand who we truly are, where we are going. There is no reason why the average individual cannot be fully empowered. We are incredibly powerful beings.
I think I spent 30 years of my life, the first 30, trying to become something. I wanted to become good at things. I wanted to become good at tennis. I wanted to become good at school and grades and everything I kind of viewed in that perspective. I'm not okay the way I am, but if I got good at things, I realized that I had the game wrong. The game was to find out what I already was.
Culture, we've been trained for individual differences to stand out. So you look at each person, the immediate hit is brighter, dumber, older, younger, richer, poorer, and we make all these dimensional distinctions, put them in categories and treat them that way. And we get so that we only see others as separate from ourselves in the ways in which they're separate. And one of the dramatic characteristics of experience is being with another person and suddenly seeing the ways in which they are like you, not different from you, and experiencing the fact that which is essence in you, which is essence in me, is